Tomorrow's the election. Yeah. All right. 20 minutes of math, 25, maybe 30, depends on how much you get distracted. So, I know. 5.6. What word do you see that wasn't there when we did this same similar lesson about depreciation on Thursday? What's the new word?
Exponential.
Great. So, exponential is the word that's changed. You will notice that if you look at 5.5, it says in almost every sample problem, straight line depreciates. Straight line depreciates. And now all of a sudden that has switched. These will say depreciate exponentially. Several of you will get confused because you don't stop and read. You've seen me not stop and read and make mistakes, or at least my first hour does, because by the time I make a mistake with them, I've corrected it for the rest of the day. When it says exponential, it decreases at a quicker rate. So think about what you remember about an exponential function from both Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. It's got a curve to it. You're not required to graph it. It just goes down in value faster. Here's the formula. Y equals A 1 minus R to the X. Here are what the different values mean. A is the new price of the car.
Wait, is it I or 1 minus R?
This is an R. Is that your question?
It's a 1. Is it I or 1? Okay, it's 1.
It's a Y. So A is the new price. X still stands for years, so X is the time. Y is the value, or the price after like a certain number of years, and R is the rate. Sometimes you'll be asked the question, how old is the car? When the question, this is the very last one we're going to look at today. When the question asks how old the car is, it's going to ask you to solve for X, because X is the only thing up here that stands for time. The only way you can solve for an exponent in life is if you use logarithms. So once again, goes back to Algebra 2. You don't need to remember how to use logarithms because the formula is just provided for you. So when it says how old is the car, there will be a separate formula. And we won't look at this till the last two questions. How old is the car uses this formula right here. And you can see it's got all the same letters as the other formula. So you don't have to learn any new stuff, and you're not going to have to memorize the formula. You'll just need to remember that when the question says, how old is the car, you're going to use this formula here. All right, so we're going to start really super basic, and then we're going to build, and each question has kind of a little twist to it, and there's only 6 questions, and then we'll be wrapped up. So there should be lots of time to do homework. Tanya's new car, example 1, sold for $28,856. Her online research indicates that the car will depreciate, there's your key word, exponentially, at a rate of 6 3/8%. Write the formula. So what's the equation? So let's write down, I always like to write down off to the side, well sometimes I do this, off to the side all the different pieces. So when the car is new, it's $23,856. The new car price is always the A. So A is $23,856. And honestly, I would write it down. You guys have lots of space. I probably would write it right here, okay? But it's hard for me to keep everything up there. Let's do it right like that. So, A is 23,856. The R is given to you as a fraction. Some of you still don't know how to handle that very efficiently. So, first thing I would do is put in 3 divided by 8 to your calculator. If you still need practice, go 3 divided by 8. What you should see is 0.375. So, the 6 hasn't gone anywhere. This 6 right here is still there. So now we have 6.375, and it's still a percent. So the decimal we're going to use in the problem is 0.06375. Okay, I wouldn't for the rate.
Okay.
And not all of them are 5 digits. This one's extreme. All right. Then it says, write the exponential depreciation formula. That's all you need. Y equals 23,856, parentheses, 1 minus 0.06375 to the x. It's asking you for the equation. So the equation is still going to have both an x and a y. Just like, side comment, look up real quick. If you have y equals 2/3 x plus 4, aren't there 2 variables to that line? You guys are so used to seeing lines. Y equals mx plus b. Doesn't even faze you that there's both an x and a y. Same here. There's both an x and a y. So then if the question had an extra part to it, how much is the car worth after 3 years? You could plug in 3. All right, there's pieces you could figure out. Questions so far? Fabulous. Few people need to get off their phones.
And that's just it, we just do the equation.
That's it. It just asks for the equation and that's it. It won't stay that way. It won't, I'm building your skills. So example 2. Example 2, so Sharon purchased a used car for $24,600. The car depreciates exponentially by 8% per year. How much will the car be worth after 5 years? So now we're going to use it to actually solve. What do we know? We know that A is 24,600. We know the rate is 8%, so 0.08. We know the X is 5 years, and so the Y is what we're looking for. How much will the car be worth after 5 years? Plug it into the formula, and then you'll see how easy it is just to type it in. That whole page. So, I am now here. So plug in the pieces. Y equals 24,600. Y equals 24,600. Parentheses, 1 minus 0.08 to the 5th power. That's what you're going to type. If you type that all in as is, your calculator is going to do 100% of that work and tell you what the value of that car will be. I totally forgot what it is, so let me type it in. It's not a nice number. 16, just tell me. 3? 213, yes. 213.
16213.
Yeah, 16213 point.
And then some odd change. Okay? So that, Kayla, 0.05?
0.40. It's 0.41.
It It would be 4.4.
Oh my gosh, I should have just typed it in. Alright, moving on. Clearly you're good. Moving on. Example 3. Example 3 is tricky. You're gonna forget the steps if you don't take good notes. Alright? Example 3 is tricky. So, what is it that we're looking for in example 3?
The rate.
The rate. Over here off to the margin, you might even want to write, find the rate, like so that it's easy for you to locate this problem in your notes. Once again, I'll write down the formula. So, Brad purchases a 5-year-old car for $14,200. So right there, when X, after 5 years, the car was worth $14,200. There's an X and a Y. When the car was new, it sold for 24 grand. There's the A. The rate is what we don't know. The first time we go through this, it's gonna seem really, really weird, okay? We have to go back and think about some Algebra 1 and some Algebra 2, all right? How do you undo something? Total side comment, don't write this down, just let me babble for a second. How would you undo something like that? How would you solve for X? What would you do to both sides? Square root. What if you had something to the 3rd power? What would you do? Cube root. What if you had something to the 5th power? Same idea. 5th root. Okay, now, anything you take to a root undoes an exponent. When you're in Algebra 2, you also learned about fractional exponents. And you learned that instead of taking it to the cube root, a different option that means exactly the same thing would have been to take it to the 1/3 power. Okay? I'm just trying to jog your memory. If you have no memory of learning this, I will still get you through it. But that is one of the steps that we're gonna do. All right, let's plug in everything we know. Leave some room over here for some steps. So, y is 14,200. A is 24,000, my bad, 24,000. 1 minus R is what we're looking for, and the X is 5. This is what we need to get by itself. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this 24,000. This 24,000 is being multiplied by that parenthesis. What is the opposite of multiply? Divide. So the very first thing we're going to do is divide by A. You want to go through this with me on the calculator. Do not clear the calculator in between steps. So 14,200 divide by 24,000. You get 0.591, blah, 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 blah. Please work this through on your calculator also, so that you have this memory, because you're going to try one. Promise you it's on the test, promise you it's on the homework. Okay. Second step. We need to get rid of this 5. So this is what I was talking about. We're going to take both sides to the 5th root, but it's easier for the purpose of our calculator to do the fractional exponent. So we're going to take both sides to the 1/5 power. We are going to take that to the 1/5 power. So Our step is going to look like this. We're going to raise to the 1 over time exponent. This was the number of years. So if it was a problem that had 9 years, what would our fraction be? 1/9. If it was a problem that was 7 years, our fraction would be 1 over 7. How do you do that? You're going to literally right now, using your calculator, what you see on your calculator, hit that exponent button, parenthesis 1 divided by 5 parenthesis. That's what you're going to type.
Oh, I did the actual one.
Hit enter. You should see 0.90035, and then it goes on and on and on. So now this is gone. And we're all the way down to 1 minus r.
Wait,
How-
you said caret, parentheses, 1 divided by 5?
Parenthesis, correct.
Okay, well, I did the same thing.
Did you use the fraction divide or the real divide?
The real divide.
Are you sure?
I used the real divider. I didn't use parentheses.
Yeah, I got.
Use parentheses.
I
I used
I
the
got
fraction.
0.11832.
Yeah, I got 1/1.
I got mine.
You have to put the exponent in parentheses.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Oh, the exponent.
I'm getting 10
I got mine.
I will come and look at it in just a second.
No, you gotta put the .591.
Oh yeah, there we go. Just because it wasn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You got it?
You
Yeah,
said.
you have to do it to .591.
Oh, wait, wait, wait. You have everything wrong.
Okay, I got it.
This.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't in parentheses.
Look at mine. Parenthesis, 1 divided by 5 parenthesis.
Oh, we did it by the answer.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Don't clear anything. Keep your calculator going. All right. Very basic algebra 1, not this, something else. If you have 3 equals x plus 1, how do you get this positive 1 to the other side?
Subtract.
So same thing here, it just looks complicated. Subtract the 1. So next step, subtract 1. So minus 1, equal it out. You see a negative number on your calculator screen. But guess what? R has a negative in front of it. So just ignore it, and you've got the answer right there in front of you. So ignore the negative. If you don't like moving the decimal twice, because that looks really complicated to you, multiply by 100. And it'll change it to a percent right away. So an optional step is to multiply by 100 to change it to a percentage. You should get 9.96%. Let's see if there's any round to the nearest hundredth. 9.96. So there's the one as the example. You guys try the try. Okay. Hold on real quick. I literally just did the whole problem. That's what you're finding. That's what this is. So it's R. The R stays R. You're going through those same steps. Yes. Why are you?
What?
Okay. Watch.
No, I'm just trying to see how you got 9.96.
I know. 14,200 divide by 24,000 is that mess right there, right?
Yes.
Hit the exponent key. parenthesis 1 divided by 5, parenthesis, hit it. Subtract the 1. Pretend like it's not negative and multiply it by 100 and you're literally done. It's 4 calculator steps. So that's all you have to really remember. And it works because you remember some stuff from algebra, but the steps really here help. Who can I help? It's not going to be 1/5 in this problem because things switched. So when I plug everything in, I start with that right there. Oh, thank you. All right. Yes,
Can you help me with this?
absolutely.
So, what's the step for this part?
Yeah.
Do we?
Subtract the 1. It's still 1 minus r. You still have 1 minus r. So you moved it over. I don't see that you forgot to subtract. You did not subtract on your calculator.
Wait, from what?
Well, you did the point, you did the 1/7, and then you did the answer times 100. You didn't, in between this line and this line is a minus 1 step.
Oh, you bring it over here.
Yeah, well, if you do it to one side, you gotta do it to the other side.
It didn't click.
I did 13.8. Lovely.
That's what I.
Here we go. Step 1. Divide by 28,000.
Y'all see that? What is that?
What is?
Look what's flying.
Oh. Oh, that happens.
Y'all tripping. It's tripping.
Hey, left.
Alright, when you do that, you get 0.35. 35, and it goes on and on and on. 1 minus r to the 7th. Step 2. Take both sides to the 1/7 power. Whatever that is, reverse it. So take this to the 1/7 power. Take that to the 1/7. That just undoes that. So type in this. Now you're gonna get 0.8619. Blah, 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 blah. Equals 1 minus r. Subtract 1. And now you're gonna get a negative 0.13802, blah, 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 blah. And it equals a negative r. So ignore the negative. If you multiply by 100, it will change it to a percentage for you. How many people successfully did that on their own? Let's see it. Yeah, that's not enough of us.
Whoa. Wait, how'd you get?
It's 4 quick steps. How did I get what?
Like 8619.
Well, that's what my calculator, sound like a kid, that's what my calculator said after I did the exponent parenthesis 1 divided by 7 parenthesis. Let's try it one more time.
No, so I have to type in the 0.3536.
No, it should be there. I'll come show you.
Oh yeah, I cleared it, that's why.
That's why, don't clear anything. Don't clear anything ever. Yes, if you clear it, it messes it up. All right, try one more time off to the side, real quick. New, it's worth 40 after 9 years. It's worth, so this is the A, this is the X. After 9 years, it's worth 22.
Yeah, just
Find the rate.
after you type it.
Off to the side, try it one more time, especially if your hand was not up. You you have space at the bottom, you have space off to the side someplace. Go through the steps one more time. Dallas, you know I put another one up here, right?
Yeah, I'm just showing.
Okay. So try to solve that one for R. You should be getting used to doing the steps on the calculator.
Can we round it?
Yeah, round to whatever. I just made it up, so. If you have the steps written down, it's really a matter of just typing in your calculator the right steps. I get 6.4.
Yeah, I got 6.4.
So,
6 or I got 7.4 in mine.
Oh, okay, I got.
right, but well, it does in the sense that that's where it comes from. It comes from the algebra necessary.
If you're putting it.
But once I show you the steps, it's just really fast. Yes.
You know what to do? You just divide it by the right side. You just divide
But-
by the original cost. And then.
But you have an algebra base that not everybody came in with. So those shortcuts, the more you understand, the easier it is, which is true of all things, not just math. And then you're going to take it to the 1/9, and then you're going to subtract 1 and multiply by 100. And you get 6.4%.
I got 7.4, but I didn't know.
Can I help anybody knowing what the answer is?
Oh, got it.
I got 6.4.
Oh, you divide.
Oh, okay.
This one we divided.
You always put the smaller of these two numbers in first. The 22 is going to go in before the 40.
What you Oh, it's.
Then you take it to, in this case, the 1/9 power.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I was just mixed up because it's
Subtract
1 minus
one.
9, so I was like,
Subtract 1.
No,
Multiply
that's
by
not
100.
one.
Boom, 6.4. Yes?
No,
Yes.
I got.
You put 1 minus 9 there, not 1 divided by 9, right here. You've
It's
got
because
the
you put
wrong
minus
symbol.
first, that's why I tried to tell her.
Oh, well, yeah, I just didn't put the dots. Sorry, my bad. I probably said it out loud. I didn't put the dots. Okay, let's move on from this. You'll practice it in your homework. We've got 2 more. This one's easy. The next one is easy too. It's just the other formula. Example 4. A car exponentially depreciates at a rate of blah blah. So we know the rate. Mia purchased a 4-year-old car for $17,500. What was the car worth new? So what do we know? Well, if you like writing all the things off to the side, we know the rate is 0.085. We know the time is 4. And after 4 years, the car is worth $17,500. What we don't know is the A, the new price. So let's plug it all in. Remember, it's y equals A, 1 minus r to the x. So 17,500 equals A is what we're looking for. 1 minus 0.085 to the 4th. It looks hard, trust me, it is not hard. If you want to solve that for A, you need to get rid of this. And you need to somehow move all this over to the other side. Right now, this is a multiplication sign. So once again, what is the opposite? Divide. So don't type in a thing yet. What you are going to type in is what I've got here on the left. Type that in your calculator. Go 17,500 divided by parenthesis 1 minus 0.085 to the fourth, and it will spit out the A for you. So a little bit of algebra skill goes a long way in remembering how to solve some of this stuff. I get 24,966.2. It says round to the nearest thousand, so $25,000. It said round to the nearest thousand, so the answer is 25,000. You need me to look? You got it?
I did two exceptions.
All right, my goal for you is always to give you about a half hour to do homework. So we've got one more. I'll show you one. We try one, and we should be spot on. So, 5 and 6. What's the question they ask in question 5? How old is the car? Well, we know that when we see that. How old is the car? That is the trigger that we are looking for the exponent. Okay? So if we're looking for the exponent, we're doing the other formula. How old is the car? Is your little trigger that this is the formula you're gonna do. The number one mistake when kids use this formula is they get the Y and the A mixed up. A is bigger. A is bigger. A is bigger. A is the new price of the car. So, ln of, when the car was new, it sold for 30,000. 22.8 goes on top, divided by the rate is 1 minus 0.092. I didn't do this piece. So I'm not in a huge rush or anything. Take a second. If you like seeing all the variables written out off to the side, just take a second and copy that all in. I had several Kenyan people hit the fraction button instead of the divide button here and here in first hour, and they were getting syntax errors. And I said, well, try to use the actual divide button. I don't know why it doesn't work. They did, it worked out fine. I don't know if it's just individual calculators that won't work.
I'm gonna be honest, if like you ask Kenyon what do you do after that, he'd call you stupid and just
A lot of teachers call you stupid. They call stupid so many times I teach.
I have never. That's a shame. Hopefully they were just joking around.
Kenyon is not joking when he says it.
When Mr. Tree said that, he was joking.
Yeah, right. I get 2.8.
Well, like, Miss Quinn legitimately called me stupid. That's why I dropped
2.8.
it.
I got way on.
In
I think I
in
typed
college
it.
algebra?
Yeah, that's why I dropped it. It's because she legitimately called me.
That is not a word we are allowed to use anymore. All right, 2.8. If your calculator doesn't say 2.8, call me over. 2.8, 2.8, 2.8, 2.8.
My calculator does not say. Oh, I know why. Never mind.
Try the try when you're ready. The try's on you.
You gotta click divide.
So try example 6 doesn't say try,
I got it.
but it is a try. It's the same. So you guys try example 6. See if you can go through all the motions on your own.
Never. Oh wait, what? Okay.
I got you. You have to put divide instead of the fraction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, hit divide instead of the fraction button. It'll work a little better.
There we go. Now I got 2.8.
2.8?
Yeah.
Never put the fraction.
I just don't listen.
I don't even know how to put whole numbers in fraction.
I didn't know how to do the less problem.
I did not care.
I never put.
Blaine, let's try this and let's not look at our phone. What are you trading stock?
Oh my god.
Blaze on top of it. 2.8.
That's great. We're doing example 6. You're doing it on your own.
Oh.
I'm just bringing that fuck it.
Anybody eat breakfast in the cafeteria?
I just like it.
They don't even let you in there, I don't think.
I just wonder if the posters are still up or if they got taken down. That's all. If anybody had been by there yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think they let you eat the Remember?
Oh, for breakfast? They
Yeah.
I thought there was a lady, like, not in the cafeteria, but.
Try this problem.
It's gonna.
Yes. No, time can't be negative. So I'm guessing you put the wrong number on the bottom of the fraction. The bigger number always has to go on the bottom. The bigger number always has. The Y is the new price. Or the A is the new price. A is bigger. I just got done doing this little song and dance. A is bigger, A is bigger, A is bigger. A is the new price. So
They didn't see it,
here's what I get.
She's like, literally starting to like, Roman, look at your leg.
Let me do it.
Well, I already waited so
What
long.
about me? I got 3.3.
That's what I get. 3.3. There it is. You're gonna get a negative if you flip the A and the Y accidentally. A is always bigger. You might want to write that down. This is the only time students like flip it. Okay? So there you go. That's our lesson about exponential. If you don't do homework every day this week, when the test comes, you're doomed. It's too much. So if you're like, oh man, you assigned so much homework. No, I don't. You have a half hour. You could do this homework assignment before the bell rings. Okay? There's a lot to the auto chapter.